Embracing self-reliance is about cultivating an unshakable trust in your own abilities, decisions, and resilience. It's about understanding that at the end of the day, the person you can most depend on is yourself. Self-reliance is not about shutting others out or refusing support. It's about knowing that regardless of who is around or what changes in your external world, you are capable of handling life's challenges on your own terms. When you rely on yourself, you are grounded in a confidence that comes from knowing you have your own back. This kind of self-trust doesn't happen overnight. It's built gradually from moments when you push through discomfort, confront your fears, and make decisions based on what's best for you, even if those decisions feel hard or unpopular. Self-reliance grows each time you show up for yourself in small, consistent ways, whether that's setting boundaries, taking responsibility for your actions, or pursuing your goals without waiting for others to give you permission or approval. Embracing self-reliance also means becoming comfortable with the discomfort of solitude. It's about recognizing that while company can be comforting, there is immense value in the moments spent alone. When you learn to find peace and strength in solitude, you're no longer reliant on others to fill the empty spaces or validate your worth. You start to realize that your worth isn't defined by anyone else's acceptance or approval, but by the way you see yourself and the standards you set for your own life. To be self-reliant is to move through the world with a sense of inner strength that isn't easily shaken by the opinions or actions of others. You no longer wait for external validation to make decisions or take steps forward. You don't need to be guided by the opinions, expectations, or judgments of those around you because your direction comes from within. It's a deeply personal kind of freedom, one that allows you to pursue your path without constantly seeking reassurance or doubting yourself because of someone else's perspective. Self-reliance also empowers you to confront challenges with resilience, knowing that you have the tools to adapt, to recover, and to keep moving forward no matter how difficult the journey may become. When you embrace self-reliance, you're taking responsibility for your own growth and happiness. You realize that while relationships, connections, and communities are essential parts of a fulfilling life, they are not the foundation of your strength. That foundation is built within, in the trust you place in yourself, in your ability to stand tall, even when circumstances shift or support systems fade away. In embracing self-reliance, you create a life that isn't dependent on external factors for stability, joy, or purpose. Knowing your worth is a powerful acknowledgement of your value, an inner understanding that your worth isn't defined by others' opinions, circumstances, or the roles you play in their lives. It's an inner confidence that comes from understanding that your value is inherent and nothing external can truly diminish or enhance it. When you know your worth, you're less likely to settle for situations, relationships, or environments that don't align with who you are or respect your boundaries. It's not about arrogance or superiority. It's about a quiet, unshakable awareness that you are deserving of respect, kindness, and opportunities that uplift you rather than deplete you. This awareness of your own worth requires deep self-reflection and a willingness to confront past experiences that may have clouded your self-perception. Often, we go through life accepting behaviors, jobs, or friendships that don't truly honor us because we believe that this is what we deserve or all that we're capable of achieving. Knowing your worth means challenging those beliefs, undoing the conditioning that tells you to accept less, to play small, or to ignore your own needs. It's a journey that involves peeling back the layers of doubt, insecurity, and fear that may have accumulated over the years, often from external sources or past experiences that made you question your own value. To know your worth is to recognize your unique strengths, qualities, and contributions. It's about acknowledging your talents, skills, and passions without minimizing them. When you are secure in your worth, you don't feel the need to downplay your accomplishments or dim your light to make others comfortable. Instead, you stand fully in your strengths, celebrating them with humility and gratitude, knowing that you have something meaningful to offer to the world. This sense of worth empowers you to pursue dreams, goals, and relationships that reflect your true self, not what others expect or demand of you. Knowing your worth also shapes the way you allow others to treat you. When you fully understand and accept your value, you're less willing to tolerate disrespect, manipulation, or disregard. You create boundaries not out of defensiveness, but as a way to protect and honor your own energy, time, and emotional well-being. Boundaries become an act of self-respect, a way of ensuring that the people and situations in your life reflect the same care and respect that you have for yourself. You're no longer willing to compromise your dignity or lower your standards because you know you deserve better, and you're willing to walk away from anything that doesn't align with that truth. Knowing your worth is also a path to inner peace. When you stop seeking validation from outside sources, you find a calmness within that isn't easily disrupted by criticism, rejection, or the highs and lows of life. You understand that your worth isn't contingent on anyone's approval, your successes, or even your failures. This kind of self-assuredness gives you the freedom to take risks, to make mistakes, and to pursue passions without the weight of constantly worrying about how you're perceived. It's a liberation from the need to be perfect or to fit into molds created by others, because you know that you are enough as you are. Knowing your worth means recognizing that you're a priority in your own life, that your dreams and aspirations are valid and worthy of attention and effort. You don't sideline your own needs or put yourself last because you believe in the importance of investing in yourself. It's a radical act of self-love to choose yourself, to decide that you are worthy of joy, fulfillment, and peace, even if it means making hard choices or stepping away from what's familiar. This is a life built on authenticity, a life where you are true to who you are rather than who you think you need to be to please others. When you know your worth, you also embrace your flaws and imperfections. Knowing your worth doesn't mean you view yourself as flawless or above others. It means you accept your humanity, your mistakes, and your imperfections without allowing them to define your value. You can forgive yourself, learn and grow without feeling diminished by your own missteps. This self-compassion allows you to move forward without being weighed down by shame or guilt, empowering you to rise each time you fall. Silence as strength is a powerful concept rooted in the understanding that not every situation or interaction requires a response. Embracing silence doesn't mean passivity or avoidance. Rather, it's an intentional choice to hold back words when they are not necessary or beneficial. In a world that often encourages us to speak up, to defend ourselves, or to fill every quiet moment with noise, silence can be an act of resilience, a way to maintain control over your own emotions and reactions. When you use silence as a strength, you're taking ownership of your response, refusing to give away your energy to trivial matters or unnecessary conflicts. Choosing silence means you understand that not every situation deserves your engagement. It's knowing that some words, some debates, or even some relationships aren't worth the energy or time they demand. Silence can serve as a boundary, a way of saying enough without needing to raise your voice or get drawn into endless back and forth arguments. When you choose to remain silent in situations where others may expect a reaction, you're asserting control over your own emotions and actions, choosing a path that protects your peace rather than fueling unnecessary drama. Silence as strength also means valuing the power of reflection. When you hold back from reacting immediately, you give yourself space to process emotions, understand your thoughts, and gain perspective. This allows you to respond, if necessary, from a place of clarity and intention rather than impulsivity. Silence creates a gap between emotion and action, a moment where you can pause, assess, and decide if the situation even deserves your voice. In this way, silence becomes a form of self-respect, a way of ensuring that your energy is only invested in matters that truly align with your values and well-being. Additionally, silence can be a powerful tool in managing relationships and social dynamics. In moments of tension or misunderstanding, silence allows you to hold space for yourself and others, giving room for tempers to cool and for conversations to proceed with less emotion and more understanding. When you refrain from immediate responses, you avoid escalating conflicts or saying things in the heat of the moment that could lead to regret. Silence can disarm anger, diffuse tension, and shift the dynamics of a conversation. Sometimes your silence says more than words ever could, showing that you refuse to be pulled into someone else's negativity or attempts at provocation. In silence, there is also a quiet confidence. Choosing not to speak doesn't mean you lack something to say or that you're surrendering your power. It means you're discerning about when and how you share your thoughts. You don't feel pressured to explain yourself or justify your worth to those who may not understand or appreciate it. Silence here is a testament to self-assurance, a refusal to be drawn into unnecessary validation seeking or approval chasing. By staying silent, you show that you're comfortable with who you are, confident enough to stand without needing to be heard in every moment. This kind of strength is magnetic. It draws respect because it shows self-control and poise. Silence can also be an act of resilience in the face of adversity. In challenging moments when emotions are high, choosing silence allows you to ground yourself. Instead of reacting to pain, criticism, or judgment, you give yourself the chance to process, to regroup, and to channel that energy into something constructive. Silence gives you time to heal and recalibrate so you don't give in to bitterness or retaliation. It's about rising above the situation rather than letting it pull you down, allowing you to maintain your dignity and self-respect, even in the midst of difficulty. The strength in silence is also evident when you use it as a form of protection. There are times when words can be twisted, misunderstood, or used against you. In those moments, silence is a way of shielding yourself, of ensuring that you're not giving others fuel to manipulate or misinterpret your intentions. By withholding words, you keep control over your narrative, protecting your integrity and reputation. Silence becomes a way of taking responsibility for what you can control, your own words and actions, and not giving away your power to others who may not have your best interests at heart. Silence as strength is ultimately about discernment. It's the wisdom to know when words are necessary and when they're not. It's the ability to resist the urge to fill every quiet space, to instead sit with yourself, listening to your own thoughts and feelings. In that quiet, you find a deeper understanding of yourself, a sense of calm that isn't dependent on others' opinions or validations. Silence creates room for introspection, for reconnecting with your own intuition, and for making choices that are true to who you are. By embracing silence as strength, you cultivate a sense of calm, an inner stillness that can't be easily shaken. It gives you the chance to be fully present with yourself, to make decisions that honor your values, and to walk away from situations that don't. In this silence, you discover resilience, clarity, and a deep, abiding confidence in who you are. Trusting your journey means having faith in the unique path you're on, even when it diverges from what others might consider normal or expected. It's a commitment to moving forward despite uncertainty, to embracing the unknown as part of your growth, and to believing that every twist and turn has meaning, even if you can't see it in the moment. Trusting your journey means recognizing that life doesn't follow a straight line, and that setbacks, detours, and delays are not indicators of failure, but rather signs that there is something yet to learn, understand, or experience that will ultimately enrich your path. When you trust your journey, you acknowledge that your life's direction is a personal one, guided by your unique values, dreams, and purpose. You understand that comparison to others can be a thief of peace, as no two paths are alike. In trusting your journey, you let go of the need to measure your progress against anyone else's, recognizing that your timeline and your experiences are valid in their own right. This trust becomes a source of resilience because it frees you from constantly seeking external validation and allows you to focus on what truly matters to you, not what others believe you should accomplish or pursue. Trusting your journey also involves letting go of control, a challenging but essential step. Life often doesn't unfold according to carefully laid plans, and while having goals and aspirations is important, rigidly clinging to them can sometimes lead to frustration or disappointment when things don't go as expected. Trusting the journey means being open to adapting, to shifting your plans if the situation demands it, and to seeing unexpected outcomes as opportunities rather than setbacks. This flexibility isn't about giving up on your dreams. It's about recognizing that there may be multiple routes to get where you're meant to be, and sometimes the detours bring you exactly what you need, even if you don't realize it right away. Part of trusting your journey is embracing the challenges and setbacks that arise along the way. It's easy to feel disheartened when things go wrong, but often it's in these challenging moments that we grow the most. And setbacks can force us to reevaluate, to strengthen our resolve, and to develop resilience that we wouldn't have gained otherwise. They test our commitment to our dreams, and in doing so, help us discover new strengths, talents, and perspectives. When you trust your journey, you understand that these difficult periods are as integral to your growth as the successes, that every obstacle is a stepping stone rather than a stumbling block. Trusting your journey also means cultivating patience. There's often a strong urge to rush, to reach the next milestone, or to accomplish everything as quickly as possible. But the process itself has value. There are lessons that can only be learned with time, and growth that only happens when we allow ourselves to be fully present with where we are now. Trusting the journey means surrendering to the timing of your life, recognizing that while you may not yet be where you want to be, each day is an important part of the unfolding story. This patience allows you to appreciate the present without constantly fixating on the future, grounding you in gratitude and making the journey itself rewarding. Another essential part of trusting your journey is being willing to take risks, to venture into unknown territory without needing a guarantee of success. Trusting your path requires a leap of faith and inner confidence that the steps you take, even if uncertain, will lead you somewhere meaningful. It's about moving forward even when the outcome isn't guaranteed, believing that the pursuit of what's meaningful to you is reason enough to take action. Trusting the journey is about embracing the courage to act in alignment with your values, knowing that no matter what the outcome is, you'll be stronger and wiser for it. Trusting your journey also requires tuning into your intuition and inner guidance, allowing it to lead you when the path seems unclear. In a world full of noise and conflicting advice, trusting yourself becomes a compass that helps you navigate. This inner trust comes from listening to your own voice, connecting with what feels authentic to you, and making choices that align with your own values and beliefs rather than simply following what others say is right. Trusting your journey is ultimately an exercise in trusting yourself, believing that your instincts, experiences, and insights are enough to guide you in the direction that's right for you. Finally, trusting your journey is about understanding that everything you encounter along the way is part of the bigger picture. Each experience, each person you meet, and each challenge you face adds something essential to your story. Even if things don't make sense in the moment, you begin to see that there is a deeper coherence in your path, that life has a way of working things out in ways you might never have imagined. By trusting your journey, you allow yourself to move forward without the need to know all the answers or to have everything figured out, secure in the belief that you're exactly where you're meant to be at each stage of your life. Courage and vulnerability is the act of opening yourself up to others, knowing full well that there's a risk of rejection, judgment, or misunderstanding. It takes immense bravery to show up as your true self without pretense in a world that often rewards perfection and punishes imperfection. Vulnerability isn't weakness. In fact, it's one of the greatest acts of courage because it requires you to lower your guard, to be honest about your struggles, fears, and insecurities, and to allow others to see the parts of you that are not polished or rehearsed. It is a willingness to be real, even when that feels uncomfortable, in pursuit of authentic connections and personal growth. Being courageous in vulnerability starts with letting go of the need to appear flawless or always in control. Society often sends the message that we must hide our struggles or fake it till we make it. But true strength lies in the ability to face our imperfections and embrace them as part of who we are. When we allow ourselves to be seen as we are, with all our uncertainties, doubts, and mistakes, we're practicing self-acceptance in its truest form. This acceptance is powerful because it sets us free from the pressure to meet unrealistic standards, both from ourselves and from others. It allows us to experience life fully without the constant worry of measuring up or pretending to be someone we're not. Courage and vulnerability also means taking emotional risks, reaching out to others, and expressing what's really on our minds and hearts. It might mean telling someone how you truly feel, sharing a dream that you're passionate about, or admitting a fear that's been holding you back. In these moments, vulnerability pushes us to step into the unknown, to open doors that might otherwise remain closed. Even though there is a risk that we might not receive the response we hope for, it's the act of expressing ourselves authentically that matters. When we are willing to be vulnerable, we give others permission to do the same, creating an environment of trust, openness, and understanding that can deepen our connections and make our relationships more meaningful. Vulnerability also invites a profound level of self-reflection, as it forces us to confront the parts of ourselves that we might prefer to ignore or hide. It requires us to face our insecurities, to acknowledge our mistakes, and to accept our limitations. This self-awareness can be difficult and even painful at times, but it is also incredibly freeing. When we stop hiding from our own vulnerabilities, we release the power they have over us. We begin to see that our worth isn't diminished by our struggles or failures. Instead, these experiences add depth, resilience, and empathy to our character. We start to understand that being vulnerable is not about focusing on what we lack, but rather embracing the full spectrum of who we are, our strengths and our weaknesses, our successes and our missteps. Courage in vulnerability also fosters resilience, as it teaches us how to handle rejection, disappointment, and failure without letting these experiences define us. When we take the risk of being vulnerable and things don't go as planned, we learn to bounce back and keep moving forward. We develop the capacity to separate our self-worth from external validation, understanding that one setback doesn't determine our value. Instead, each experience becomes an opportunity to grow stronger, to learn more about ourselves, and to refine our vision of what we want and need in our lives. Through vulnerability, we build a foundation of resilience that allows us to approach life's challenges with greater courage and perspective. In being vulnerable, we also cultivate empathy, both for ourselves and for others. When we allow ourselves to be honest about our own struggles, we become more compassionate toward the struggles of those around us. We realize that everyone is carrying their own burdens and that no one is immune to pain, loss, or fear. This awareness fosters a sense of connection, as we recognize that vulnerability is a shared human experience. By embracing vulnerability, we break down the walls that divide us from others, opening the door to deeper understanding and genuine support. In this way, vulnerability not only enriches our own lives, but also strengthens our communities as we become more willing to support one another and to show kindness in the face of shared challenges. Courage and vulnerability is also about embracing uncertainty, accepting that we cannot control the outcomes of every situation or predict how others will respond. When we are vulnerable, we step into situations without guarantees, knowing that things may not go as we hope. This surrender to the unknown is an act of bravery, as it requires us to let go of the illusion of control and trust that we can handle whatever comes our way. By embracing vulnerability, we learn to navigate uncertainty with grace, finding strength in our ability to adapt, to respond authentically, and to accept outcomes without self-judgment. It is in these moments of vulnerability that we discover our capacity to face life's unpredictability with openness rather than fear. Courage in vulnerability ultimately leads to deeper self-acceptance. When we are brave enough to be honest about who we are without filters or masks, we begin to see ourselves more clearly. We recognize our own humanity, our own value, and our own right to be seen and heard exactly as we are. This acceptance allows us to live more authentically, unburdened by the need to constantly prove ourselves or hide behind a facade. By embracing our vulnerabilities, we honor our true selves, showing up fully in our relationships, our work, and our lives with the understanding that we are enough as we are. Embracing transformation means welcoming change as an essential part of growth, recognizing that evolving is not just a possibility but a necessity. Transformation requires courage to let go of what is comfortable and familiar, to step into new, sometimes challenging spaces that push us beyond our previous limits. This process is often uncomfortable as it means shedding old patterns, beliefs, or habits that no longer serve us. Embracing transformation involves surrendering to the unknown, trusting that even though the journey may be difficult, it will ultimately lead to a stronger, wiser, and more authentic version of ourselves. Change doesn't mean losing who we are, rather, it means uncovering aspects of ourselves that have been waiting to be discovered. Transformation is a journey that begins with self-awareness, the willingness to examine where we are and to be honest about what needs to shift in order to move forward. This introspection allows us to identify patterns that may be holding us back, whether they are rooted in fear, self-doubt, or past experiences. Embracing transformation requires us to face these inner obstacles with compassion and courage, understanding that they were perhaps once necessary parts of who we were, but may no longer serve who we are becoming, by accepting the need for change. We take the first step toward living a life that aligns more closely with our values and aspirations. To embrace transformation is also to let go of perfectionism, to understand that growth is often a messy, non-linear process. When we allow ourselves the grace to evolve without needing to have everything figured out, we create space for true learning and discovery. Transformation involves trial and error, moments of uncertainty, and sometimes failure, but these experiences are integral to our development. Rather than fearing mistakes, we begin to see them as opportunities for insight, as steps that reveal more about who we are and what we need to thrive. This approach allows us to transform with resilience and openness, knowing that each stumble or setback is simply part of the process. Embracing transformation means being willing to take risks, to leave behind the safety of what we know for the promise of something more fulfilling. Change often involves a leap of faith, a step into territory that feels unfamiliar or even intimidating. It's easy to cling to the comfort of routines, familiar relationships, or predictable outcomes, but true transformation requires us to stretch ourselves, to reach for something greater than what is immediately within reach. This courage to explore new possibilities helps us break free from limitations we may have imposed on ourselves, opening the door to opportunities we might never have imagined. Transformation also demands patience and persistence. Growth doesn't happen overnight, and the process of becoming can be a slow, sometimes frustrating one. Embracing transformation requires us to stay committed, even when progress feels invisible or incremental. It's about trusting that with time and effort, each small step forward is adding up to something meaningful. This patience allows us to be present in each stage of the journey, appreciating where we are without constantly rushing toward the destination. When we embrace the process, we become more resilient, learning to withstand challenges and celebrate small victories along the way. In embracing transformation, we also learn the power of letting go of releasing the past and making room for the future. Transformation often requires us to part with aspects of our lives that may have once been important but are no longer aligned with who we are becoming. This could mean moving on from relationships, habits, or beliefs that no longer contribute to our growth. While this letting go can be painful, it's also an act of self-respect, a way of honoring our journey and prioritizing what truly serves our well-being and purpose. By creating space for new experiences, ideas, and connections, we allow transformation to unfold fully, unhindered by the weight of the past. Embracing transformation is also about nurturing self-compassion. Change often brings up vulnerabilities, and as we confront new challenges, it's easy to feel self-critical or uncertain. By treating ourselves with kindness and understanding, we create an inner environment where growth is possible. Transformation doesn't require perfection, it asks for perseverance, curiosity, and a willingness to learn. When we approach ourselves with empathy, we allow room for mistakes, for learning curves, and for moments of self-doubt. This self-compassion empowers us to continue moving forward, even when the road gets tough, knowing that we are worthy of growth and capable of change. To embrace transformation is also to cultivate a mindset of adaptability. Life is unpredictable, and transformation often takes us in directions we hadn't anticipated. By being flexible and open to change, we learn to navigate life's uncertainties with a sense of possibility rather than resistance. This adaptability allows us to see challenges not as roadblocks, but as opportunities for reinvention. When we approach life with this mindset, we become more resilient, more capable of finding creative solutions, and more willing to explore new paths. Transformation is a process of constant adaptation, an unfolding that requires us to adjust and realign as we grow. Transformation also involves a deep connection with our own intuition, a willingness to listen to the inner voice that guides us toward what feels true and authentic. In a world full of noise and external expectations, it's easy to lose sight of our own desires and values. Embracing transformation means taking the time to reconnect with our intuition, to trust our instincts, and to follow the path that resonates with us, even if it goes against the grain. This connection to our inner selves grounds us, providing clarity and direction as we navigate change and make decisions that honor who we truly are. Embracing transformation ultimately leads us to a greater sense of purpose. As we evolve, we often gain clarity on what truly matters to us, discovering passions, values, and goals that may have been hidden or underdeveloped. This sense of purpose becomes a driving force, a compass that directs us toward fulfilling work, meaningful relationships, and a life that feels aligned with our deepest values. Transformation isn't just about changing for the sake of change, it's about growing into the person we are meant to be, finding fulfillment, and creating a life that reflects our truest selves. In choosing to walk alone like a lone wolf, you embrace the journey of self-discovery, resilience, and inner strength. This path requires a deep commitment to self-reliance, where you trust your instincts, prioritize growth, and pursue transformation without needing external validation. It's a journey marked by embracing vulnerability, understanding the power of silence, and valuing solitude as a source of clarity and empowerment. Walking alone doesn't mean isolation, it means stepping into your own power, learning to value your worth without compromise, and fostering the courage to follow your unique path. As you walk this road, you cultivate a life that aligns with your true self, a life of purpose, authenticity, and self-respect. In solitude, you find the strength to pursue what's meaningful and the wisdom to let go of what no longer serves you, transforming into a version of yourself that stands resilient and whole.